Welcome back to my channel, my friends. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Elisa. I'm a cognitive science student doing her master's degree, and on this channel, we explore how challenging ourselves, guided by science, can improve our physical, but especially our mental well-being. In my last video, we broke down the science on goal setting. So the types of goals, how to structure them, how to pick the right goals for ourselves. Therefore, in this video, we put that into action, because even though I always try to make the concepts kind of tangible, I feel like actually doing it might help to understand what I mean by saying all these words that I have read in the papers. So today I'm taking you through how I'm applying these principles to my actual own fitness goals. And it could not have come at a better time, because earlier this year I have completed my first ever marathon race, and since then I have not set a new physical performance goal for myself yet. So today we're gonna do that. Before we get straight into the video, I'd like to say, if you like this video or any other video that I do, please give it a like and consider subscribing. I am a small channel, so I appreciate each and every one of you, and I feel it very inspiring when other people are joining in for the journey, for taking the next step to a future self that can lead a happy and healthy life, and doing that by challenging yourself and being brave to being curious and trying out things. And if you don't want to be alone on that journey, just join the family and we can do that all together. But with that being said, let's get into the goal planning. For me personally, I always need something that is a deeper motivation for me and that aligns with my core values. We have talked about the values and that it needs to align with that in the last video. So I was thinking about what could be a good goal for myself that I could put some race events in order to follow that. And I was inspired by my marathon performance, which was not fast, I can surely say that. So I picked as my main overarching goal that I would like to improve my endurance performance in a hybrid way. So I don't want to pick another marathon race and just solely train with the main focus being on just the running all the time. I wanted to do it in a hybrid way because I feel like this aligns with my values. And it wasn't me if in picking this goal wasn't a bit of science involved as well, and wanting to improve my endurance as a beginner, because I am a beginner runner still. I was browsing and looking through some of the literature, and it seems like your endurance performance and especially your VO2 max is kind of a marker for longevity. This aligns all perfectly, and so I thought, yeah, this is my abstract, not very tangible, overarching goal, but I will make it tangible. In this video, you will see how I do that. But yeah, this was just what I wanted to pick. Now, the next step for me is to think about my prerequisites, or my kind of environment that I'm in, because we have talked about sustainability, and I feel like making yourself realize where you are and who you are and what kind of other responsibilities you have is very crucial for then planning the right actionable steps later on. So I need to remind myself always that I'm not a full-time athlete. I work, I study, and I have other life responsibilities, so I have only a limited amount of time. And the second thing that I think about when I plan this, and this is also going into the fact why I'm not doing a marathon and improving my time there through solely running, or that I'm not improving my endurance performance, as we see later, only through one training style, is that I get bored so easily. And therefore I need to make sure when I plan out this goal that I'm either easing myself into very mundane tasks, or, and this I prefer, to make the journey so multifaceted that I don't get bored along the way, because the journey in itself kind of is exciting enough. So these are the things that I think about before I actually plan, and then I get into the planning. How do I do this? What are my sub goals? What are possible milestones that we can hit? And yeah. Because in my case, my goal is so abstract and really overarching, I thought I could put in some events or races, because I personally like that, as sub goals for myself, because I'm not working towards this A race or a big competition or hitting a certain pace for a certain distance without a race or anything. These are not my goals. My main goal is improving my endurance performance. It's somewhere between a process goal and a performance goal, I'd say. I choose this because I'm a beginner. We talked about process goals, or just generally more flexible goals or open goals are better for beginners. So I choose something that is not tied to a specific event or a specific race as my goal, especially not an outcome goal. And therefore, in order to achieve this big goal, I can play around with the sub goals that I have. I picked 3 main events because I'm only planning until the end of the year. I'm doing my master's degree right now. I'm going in the phase of writing my thesis towards the end of the year. The next year is very much unsure for me, so I only plan until the end of the year for now. And therefore I picked 3 events that I want to do in this year, which will help me achieve improving my endurance performance, which are 2 high rocks events, 1 mixed doubles event and 1 open solo, and a half marathon race. For those of you who don't know what a high rocks is, it is a hybrid event that combines a total of 8 kilometers of running, and in between each of these kilometers there is 1 out of 8 stations, and you either need to complete a defined amount of reps or a distance in that station. The stations are ski erg, sled push, sled pull, burpee broad jumps, the row erg, the farmer's carry, sandbag lunges, and wall balls. So it's a mix of different endurance and conditioning elements with a sprinkle of muscle endurance in there, which makes it a very, very hybrid race type. As much as I would personally love to do a 70.3 or a full distance triathlon event, I'm just not there yet. And I know that this is not realistic for me to achieve until the end of the year, which is what I'm planning for right now. But I also know that improving my endurance is already helping me to take the next step forward for completing a triathlon event like that in the future at some point, just not for this year and as of right now, because there is so much to learn and explore for me first, and also to improve in my endurance. So that's why for this year I picked the high rocks events and a half marathon as my races, and they are guiding me towards improving in my endurance. And some of you might be thinking now, why is she picking high rocks events to improve endurance? And it's, first of all, in high rocks there is a lot of running and conditioning involved, so it will help with my endurance performance, but it's also because I want to do it in a hybrid way so that I'm able to combine all these training styles, the strength training, which will help me also in my everyday life, being able to preserve my muscles capacity to prevent myself from a certain type of injuries, but also not getting bored, because you can do strength work, you can do conditioning work, muscle endurance work, normal endurance work, like you're running, you're cycling. So there is just a whole variety of different training styles that will all help in getting better for the high rocks event, and then overall will help to improve my endurance performance as well. So just like I talked in the last video, your goals are yours only, and this is my hybrid way of improving my endurance as a beginner. This is not the fastest way, it's not the perfect dialed way to do it, but it's what I know will align with my core values. It will prevent me from getting bored, and so staying motivated and staying on track and actually working in that journey. So this is how I do it. Obviously you can do it in a more targeted way that includes only running and then some strength and conditioning for the running motion, but this is how I chose to do it because I feel like this is most exciting for me. And I chose these specific races or these specific events because they ticked some other boxes for me that I was looking for when selecting my sub goals. So the mixed doubles event, I have already done one. My rule is always to not set a performance goal for the first time that I do something, and because I'm doing the high rocks mixed doubles event with the same partner, I this time aim for a performance goal, which is achieving a time that is better than the one we hit the last time. And because it is with the same partner, it's kind of easily comparable. The second event is kind of for the same reasons, the half marathon distance. It is that you can do the half marathon without needing to really prep as running focused solely as for a marathon, for example. And I have done a race already, so this time I want to achieve a performance goal in the half marathon distance as well, which is to be under 2 hours, which should be manageable for me. It's just a few minutes that I need to take off my half marathon time, and I feel like within the next months I can definitely improve enough to do that. And the third is an open solo high rocks event. And that is completely new. It is scary for me because it is actually kind of hard. It is so high in intensity to do a high rocks event, and I've only done doubles. So this is kind of a high intensity endurance and hybrid event that I could do for myself. It is new, so I don't set a performance goal. It is exciting and it is challenging for me, definitely. And I thought that these 3 events would then be a nice build up towards the end of the year, finish strong, and then see what I want to do next year and how life will unfold for myself. And through preparing for these 3 events, I will then improve my endurance performance, because training for these needs some improvement in my endurance, because otherwise I will be out there in the solo race for way too long. And by following along these sub goals, I will maybe hit some milestones, I don't know. Maybe I will hit a new PB in my interval sessions or sprints, or maybe I will hit better paces for my zone 2 runs. I don't know that yet. I'm happy to be celebrating these maybe along the way, but from the sub goals that I have created, I can now define the actionable steps that will actually get me there. In order to be successful for the sub goals, I have to kind of do a lot of different things, which I love because I get bored so easily. So in order to be able to do well at the high rocks events and also achieve my performance goal for the half marathon, I definitely have to preserve my strength, which is also something that I definitely want to do. So I have to incorporate, even though it is only a small portion of my training, I will definitely do some strength work, then a lot of strength conditioning or muscle endurance work, so lighter weights and higher rep ranges to be able to do these high reps in the high rocks and be able to sustain that during the race without getting too fatigued. I will also add in, as my actionable steps, high intensity sessions into my routine, which is nice because I can do that now not only through sprints and running, but also the ski erg and the row erg I can use for that, or even something like EMOMs or little circuits, which go hand in hand with the muscle endurance as well, where I can get my heart rate up and do high intensity interval training workouts, which are a bit more high rocks specific. So that all will help me with my endurance performance as well. So a lot of high intensity stuff. And then obviously a very, very big block of my training will remain my zone 2 training. But there, I'm excited to branch out and not only do running, not only because I don't want to get injured along the way, and I see many people getting stress fractures and problems with their calves and tendons and whatever along the way, and I don't want to do that because so far, fingers crossed, I'm fine with my running. So I wanted to branch out, and because I have in the back of my mind that one day I want to do a triathlon and I love learning, I wanted to branch out and I really want to incorporate cycling and swimming into my low intensity workouts as well, because I feel like this is easy on my tendons and joints while I can still work in my zone 2 compared to solely do that from running. And also I feel like cross training makes you more balanced in general. And these are my actionable steps. It's not much, like I'm not rolling out and road mapping the complete training schedule, but from now I can take these sessions and say one of each. So a portion of strength training, muscle endurance, high intensity work, low intensity work. These are the 4 types of sessions that I want to hit in every week. So it's a minimum of 4 sessions. But of course, when I'm preparing for these events, I will do a dedicated plan for myself. But I'm not doing that in this video because my actionable steps are the types of sessions that I want to hit in order to be able to improve my endurance performance in a hybrid way. Obviously, if I can do more, I will do more, and I will take you along for the journey, how a training plan leading up to a high rocks event could look like for me. But these are just the actionable steps that I have identified just as of now. With these actionable steps, it's obviously going to be much easier for me to create a training plan in the future because I kind of have already done some pre-work. I have done some thinking, and it will be much faster for me. I basically only have to pick the sessions that I want and put them in a little sheet somewhere. This was a bit of a shorter video, but I hope that it helps you to kind of understand the steps that you can do for your goal planning and understand how you can put the signs that we have talked about in the last video into action in this video. And I would be very interested in what your challenges are, or if you are planning any fitness or life goals at the moment, just leave that in the comments below. I'm genuinely interested in that. And with that being said, I'd say stay curious, look after yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.